Chapter 1. The Arrival. The heavy metal door groaned as it swung shut behind me, sealing my fate within these cold stone walls. I'm Leo, just 22, overwhelmed by the stark reality of prison life, a far cry from the dreams of freedom I once held. The gray walls seemed to absorb all color, and the air was thick with tension and unspoken fears. My heart raced, each clang of metal resonating like a countdown to despair. I felt youthful optimism shatter under the weight of loss. My freedom, my choices, my future. I watched seasoned inmates navigate this grim landscape, eyes hardened, voices low, laughter hushed. I yearned to find a place to fit in amidst the hierarchy of survival. As I penned my thoughts, I grappled with the stark truth of my actions and the creeping realization that behind every hardened face lay a story waiting to be told. Chapter 2. First Encounters. As the clang of the heavy gates echoed behind him, Leo stepped into the bustling yard, the sun casting long shadows over the concrete. Here, amidst the hardened faces, he felt the weight of his isolation. It wasn't long before he found himself drawn to a small group gathered near the high walls. Angela, with her bright eyes and a warmth that contradicted the harsh environment, was recounting stories of her life as a teacher. Marcus, a burly man with a quiet authority, watched her with a knowing smile. Despite the tension in the air, their laughter was a fleeting balm against the oppressive atmosphere. Leo listened, wide-eyed, realizing each inmate had a story, a past that led them to this desolate place. The inmate hierarchy buzzed around him like a constant undercurrent. But in this moment, he simply felt a flicker of connection, a tentative hope that perhaps, here, he could find a semblance of belonging amid the chaos. Chapter 3. Brotherhood in Adversity. As the days blurred into routine, I found solace in my newfound friendships with Angela and Marcus. The laughter that occasionally pierced the prison's solemn atmosphere felt almost revolutionary. Angela, with her spirited stories, reminded us of the vibrancy that existed outside these stone walls. She shared tales of her old classroom, where joy and learning thrived, a stark contrast to our current reality. Marcus, who wore his scars like a badge of honor, became a reluctant mentor, an older brother guiding me through the unspoken rules of survival in here. Together, we navigated the maze of inmate politics, finding moments of camaraderie while sharing our fears and vulnerabilities. Through poker games and whispered conversations, we formed a bond stronger than steel. Behind the layers of desperation, we discovered the power of friendship, turning our shared adversity into a support network, a fragile but vital lifeline amid the harshness of prison life. Chapter 4. Behind the Walls. Today marks 5 years since my life took an unimaginable turn. I was once a teacher, inspiring young minds, until the day my world crumbled beneath a weight of wrongful accusations. The day I was sentenced echoed in my memory, reminding me of the laughter that filled classrooms, now replaced by the cold silence of stone walls. Here I've learned to navigate the maze of despair and hope, finding solace in words and stories that tether me to the outside world. As I sit on my bunk, surrounded by stark metal bars, I find strength in sharing my journey with Leo and the others. Each word shared is a thread knitting us closer, weaving a tapestry of resilience, stitched with the scars of our pasts. In this bleak environment, I've realized that even the heavy shadows cast by these walls cannot extinguish the light of hope. We persevere, we dream, refusing to be defined by our circumstances. Chapter 5. The Secrets We Keep. The prison walls are filled with whispers, each inmate carrying a burden heavier than the last. My days here have opened my eyes to the complexity of human nature. Beneath tough exteriors lie stories that haunt. Marcus, stoic yet compassionate, once shared a secret that left me both shocked and sympathetic. He had spent years protecting his younger brother, a decision that cost him his freedom. Angela, too, revealed the gut-wrenching truth of her wrongful conviction. Over endless hours, we've unraveled our pasts during quiet moments in the common room. As each secret emerges, I reflect on my own mistakes, spiraling into guilt over the passion that led me here. Sharing our truths might seem reckless, but it's cathartic. It transforms isolation into connection. This unmasking of our lives challenges the societal beliefs about monsters and victims, blurring the lines between right and wrong. In this space of confinement, we are simultaneously defined and liberated by our shared humanity. Chapter 6. serendipitous connections. In the dimly lit rec room, where the air buzzed with tension and unsaid words, Leo found an unlikely mentor in Marcus. The seasoned inmate, scarred by years of confinement, bore wisdom that transcended the prison walls. Over card games and shared meals, Marcus unraveled his tale of lost dreams and hard-earned lessons. "Redemption isn't a destination, Leo," he often said. "It's a journey, one choice at a time." Inspired by their conversations, Leo began exploring art as an escape, doodling on scraps of paper while reflecting on his life before incarceration. Marcus encouraged this exploration, urging him to channel pain into creativity. In these moments, Leo realized the power of self-expression. It was a lifeline that connected him to his fellow inmates and the dreams they all longed to reclaim. Amid the bleak surroundings, their burgeoning friendship blossomed, underscoring the importance of human connection, even in the darkest of places. Chapter 7. The Power of Hope. The news reverberates through the cold concrete halls. A prison-wide talent show is set for next month. Initially, the idea fills Leo with trepidation. The bright lights, the audience's gaze, his heart races at the thought of standing before them. He recalls the last time he shared his poetry. It was a fleeting moment of joy before his world turned dark. Yet as the days pass, whispers of encouragement from Angela and Marcus seep into his resolve. They share stories of how art can heal and connect, igniting the spark of creativity Leo thought he had lost. Slowly, he begins to pen verses, scribbling thoughts of longing and redemption in the margins of his journal. In the quiet corners of the yard, Leo dreams of performing, envisioning the faces of his fellow inmates, hopeful, supportive. With every line he writes, he feels fear transform into courage, and for the first time in a long time, he dares to believe in possibility. Chapter 8. A Night to Remember. The night of the talent show arrived, pulsating with an electrifying energy that cut through the oppressive atmosphere of the prison. Inmates filled the auditorium, their faces illuminated by a flickering spotlight, each holding a mix of hope and anxiety. Leo paced backstage, heart racing, battling his internal doubts about sharing his poetry. He had crafted each line with raw honesty, but fear gnawed at him. What if they didn't connect with his words? As the first performer took the stage, laughter erupted, and the tension eased. Encouraged by the camaraderie surrounding him, Leo took a deep breath, stepped into the light, and faced the audience. The echoes of his voice filled the air, weaving tales of pain, love, and longing. Each stanza resonated, drawing applause and shouts of encouragement. That night, walls not only confined them, they also crumbled as a sense of community blossomed, transforming shared suffering into collective healing. Chapter 9. Choices and Consequences. The atmosphere inside the prison thickened with an unspoken tension, and Leo could feel it creeping under his skin. Whispers of conflict began to spread like wildfire, igniting old rivalries and casting shadows over newfound friendships. One evening, he found himself in the middle of a heated argument between two factions, a scuffle waiting to erupt. His heart raced as he weighed his options. Should he intervene to protect his friends or step back, preserving his own safety? The moment felt surreal, a cruel reminder of the harsh realities of prison life. With each passing second, he struggled with loyalty and the potential fallout of his decisions. Ultimately, he chose to step in, hoping to quell the rising storm. But as fists flew and chaos erupted, he realized the cost of that choice was heavier than he could have imagined. Leo learned firsthand that every decision ripples through the lives of those around him. Chapter 10. Reassessing Morality. The harsh echoes of conflict still reverberated within the prison walls, leaving an unsettling tension lingering in the air. In the aftermath of the recent violence, Leo grappled with feelings of guilt and confusion. He found himself questioning the nature of justice. Is it truly about punishment, or can it also encompass redemption? The relationships he had forged were now strained. Trust had become a rare commodity. Leo observed as fear seeped into the lives of his fellow inmates, forcing them to reassess their alliances and values. As he sat in silence, recalling conversations with Marcus about the thin line between right and wrong, Leo felt a growing urge to redefine his own moral compass amid the chaos. The experience opened his eyes to the complexity of humanity, where every choice had profound consequences. In this moment of reckoning, Leo realized that understanding and compassion could be catalysts for change, both within the prison and in his own heart. Chapter 11. Seeds of Change. As the days turned into weeks, Leo and Angela's vision for a rehabilitation program took shape. They brainstormed ideas during quiet moments in the yard, fueled by laughter and the flickering candlelight of hope in their hearts. They secured a meeting with the warden, their passion evident in every word. "Art and education can transform lives," Leo implored, his voice steady despite the oppressive walls around them. With the warden's hesitant approval, they organized workshops, inviting their fellow inmates to explore creativity through painting, writing, and music. The first session was met with skepticism, but as colors splashed onto canvases and words flowed onto pages, their enthusiasm became contagious. Inmates who had once kept their heads down began to connect, share stories, and embrace vulnerability. Together, they sowed the seeds of change, fostering an environment where self-expression could thrive amid the harsh realities of their confinement. The prison was slowly beginning to transform. Chapter 12. As the rehabilitation program slowly takes shape, Leo and Angela face a barrage of challenges. Convincing the prison administration of the benefits proves difficult, with many skeptical of art and education as tools for transformation. However, the duo remains resolute, tirelessly advocating for their vision. They organize small workshops, inviting fellow inmates to explore their creativity through painting, writing, and music. Initially, many participants are hesitant, burdened by the weight of their pasts and the stigma of being incarcerated. But as they begin to express themselves, a palpable shift in the atmosphere occurs. Inmates share stories, laughter, and even tears. Barriers begin to lower. Leo watches as hardened facades melt away, revealing glimpses of vulnerability and humanity. Moments of connection emerge, showcasing the healing power of art. Each inmate, once isolated by their circumstances, now discovers a shared purpose, a sense of belonging that inspires hope beyond the prison walls. Chapter 13. Emotional Reckonings. As the sun filtered through the grimy windows, illuminating the otherwise drab surroundings, diary entries from various inmates began to intertwine, echoing themes of vulnerability and hope. Angela reflected on a pivotal moment during a group session, where she shared her story of innocence lost, eliciting tears and understanding from her peers. The powerful act of sharing unleashed a torrent of emotions, breaking down barriers and fostering genuine connections. Marcus penned his thoughts on the burden of guilt he carried from his past, revealing layers of remorse he had never dared to uncover. As confessions filled the room, each inmate felt a sense of liberation, realizing they were not alone in their struggles. Leo, moved by their courage, found his own voice in the middle of the emotional cascade, understanding that truths are often the catalysts for healing. Through shared stories, they began to grasp the profound power of vulnerability in forging an unbreakable bond.